Hello, and welcome to the channel. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a weapons tier list. Now, we usually do like weapons tier list when a major update drops, and some weapons that get some pretty good buffs. So we are going to be doing a weapons tier list. Now, starting off with the auto bolt rifle, this weapon is going to be a C tier, just outright mediocre. Everything this weapon does, the bolt carbine does a lot better, especially when it comes to like nuking bosses with all specs. Bolt carbine is far better. Taking down enemies, bolt carbine is far better. Its weapon perk tree is also pretty mediocre. It's nothing spectacular. It's just an all-round just mediocre class, man. It just needs a buff in my opinion. I think Saber Interactive did come out and say that they can't make the auto bolt rifle better than the bolt carbine for whatever reason. They did give a reasoning to that, but I can't remember what the reasoning was because it was quite some time ago. But auto bolt rifle is going to be C tier. Its ammo is decent, but that's like the only decent thing about it. Bolt carbine is going to be A tier. Again, everything this weapon does, the bolt carbine does a lot better. Its nuking with boss damage with all specs is pretty damn good. Its TTK to take out an enemy is good if you just only go for the head. Its ammo is decent, accuracy is decent, rate of fire good. It's just an all-round great weapon, especially against the Tyranids. I feel like bolt weapons aren't that great against chaos, but I think the bolt carbine is okay. It's nothing like amazing, but it's going to be A tier, probably the best bolt weapon in the game, in my opinion, or one of. Now, the bolt pistol would have been a D tier, but it did receive some nice buffs, and it's going to be A tier. I think the gun strike damage is the same as the heavy bolt pistol now, and it did receive a damage increase as well. So now it's pretty damn good. Its only downside is you have to keep pressing R2, which, your finger can hurt and whatnot, but it is good. I feel like it's not going to be S tier just yet, but it is good. Compared to what it was, it is a good alternative if you are like bored of the plasma pistol, like heavy bolt pistol. So it's going to be A tier right now. Now, bolt rifle with the grenade launcher is going to be A tier. Its damage against bosses is pretty good with all specs. Having a grenade launcher is, I guess, good. It's not as good as like damage wise with the bolt rifle accuracy version, but it is still pretty damn good. I feel like the main purpose of people using this is because of the all specs damage against bosses. So there is that. In terms of like a better weapon against the bolt carbine, I don't think it is. I feel like the bolt carbine is a better weapon. That's why it's going to be here. Now, the bolt rifle, now the accuracy version is going to be A tier. The weapon just feels nice to use. It's can take out enemies pretty easily. I feel like these are like the only bolt rifle like variants you should be using. I feel like the other ones are just like not that great if I'm being honest with you. But I just don't see any point in using it. Like, for example, like ammo with the bolt rifle is like literally not needed if I'm being honest with you. And firepower, well, like I just feel like the headshot multiplier is just a better thing to have than firepower. So that's why we go for this accuracy one. The accuracy one is very good, feels nice to use, deals a decent amount of damage to like every weapon in the every enemy in the game, like Zoanthropes, Neurothropes, Carnivex, Majoris, whatever. It deals a pretty good amount of damage, so it's going to be A tier. Now, the bolt sniper rifle, I think it's going to be A tier. Now, obviously, we are not doing heroic rankings. I'm going to be doing that after this video, but in like terms of like a normal weapon, no heroic, it's going to be B tier. I feel like the last fusel is far better than the bolt sniper rifle, as it doesn't have like a reload rate. Rate of fire is also better, and it's just a better weapon to use. So I feel like a B tier is going to be where it's at. Its rate of fire did get a buff like a couple patches ago, but I just feel like it's not that good to be A tier. And again, it's just like the last fusel is just a better option, and the stalker bolt rifle in my opinion. Now, the chainsword, the block chainsword is pretty good. Fencing, fencing is also good with like assault, gun strike. I guess it's also decent, but I feel like the block one is it's just far better. I think I'm gonna go A tier with the chainsword. It is good. Its AoE damage is pretty good for block. Fencing, it's quick. It can hit enemies very quickly. I just feel like the damage and whatnot, it's just far better on the block. And you just get more with the block in my opinion, unless you're playing assault with the 30% gun strike increase. But fencing or block, I feel like it doesn't really matter. A tier is a good spot for the Chainsword. Now the heavy bolt pistol, I think I'm gonna go like S tier, maybe low A. I'm just gonna go S tier, man. I just feel like, you know, when you like look at a secondary weapon, the secondary weapon you want is like the heavy bolt pistol, plasma pistol. The bolt pistol is, I just feel like, headshot multiplier. You know, heavy bolt pistol I think is better. Its gun strike is the same, but other than that, I feel like, you know, the headshot multiplier does make quite a difference, and its firepower as well. You know, because the firepower for the bolt pistol is 2. I mean, 2 is 8+ with a headshot multiplier of 1.25, but the heavy bolt pistol has a headshot multiplier of 1.5 with 10+. So that's why it's S tier. But its gun strike damage is also, you know, pretty good. It's the same. So there's that. I just feel like heavy bolt pistol is still better. Now the heavy bolt rifle did also receive a buff. Now I feel like the range version is still better. I think they did increase the damage for the range version. I think I gave it B before. Now I think I'm gonna give it like A tier. I think it's pretty good, like especially with all specs. Like if you have like a neurothrope and you're using like the scope version or whatever you're using, right, the heavy bolt rifle can deal a significant amount of damage. Like if you have like the right moment to use it, when it's like screaming or whatever, and you pop that all specs down and you go for the head only, that neurothrope is going to drop down like a fly. Even against like zone thropes, it's, you know, it's good. You know, it's just, I think before the patch it was like 1.3, 1.25, I think, or maybe it's still the same. I don't know, but I feel like the range version is still better. And you know, the main reason why you're able to nuke that neurothrope or whatever is because, you know, you have such a big magazine capacity of being 45, so it can deal a pretty good amount of damage. So there's that. You know, in terms of like swarm clearing and, you know, whatever, the bolt carbine is, you know, far better. And I don't know like which one's better in terms of boss nuking. I feel like the bolt carbine is just slightly better because of its rate of fire. But then again, the heavy bolt rifle is also pretty decent. Now the heavy bolter is also going to be A tier. I'm just gonna put it like right here. In terms of like, you know, like in terms of like heavy and the weapons, let's just get rid of heavy bolt rifle because it's the worst one, right? But in terms of, you know, plasma incinerator, pirate cannon, and the multi-melter, those are obviously far superior than the heavy bolt rifle. The heavy bolt rifle, well, you know, you have balance, which kind of sucks, and if you get like triple lictors, it can be quite annoying, because I know I've dealt with that. I've, you know, had my fair share with that. I mean, you know, it does kind of suffer, if you want me to be honest. I feel like, you know, comparing it to like, you know, all the other choices, I feel like it's just lacking. Maybe like a little buff to it would be nice. I don't know. But it's going to be A tier for that reason. It's just, you know, multi-melter, plasma incinerator, or the heavy plasma incinerator, which we're going to talk about right now, going to be S tier. Obviously, these are far better weapons than the heavy bolter, you know, heavy plasma, the pirate cannon, and the multi-melter are far better options, which is why it cannot be S tier. So heavy plasma incinerator is very fucking good. You can, you know, the AoE damage on it is good. You can take out majority enemies in 2 shots. The only problem this weapon does have is ammo. Ammo can be a bit of a problem, but other than that, it's a pretty good weapon. You know, its damage is fucking amazing. Against Carnivex, it's decent. It's, you know, just normal. You know, R2 attack, you know, not the charge up, is also okay. It's not amazing, and you know, it can deal with swarms, I guess, not as much as the multi-melter, but it's still pretty damn good. Now last fusel, I feel like maybe S tier. I feel like it's got to be S tier, man. You know, again, it's just far better than the bolt sniper rifle. You know, everything the bolt sniper rifle does, the last fusel does better. It's good against both chaos and tyranids. You know, it can just drop like anything apart from minor. Actually, no, not even like minor enemies. It one shots them, but you know, if we're talking zone thrope, neurothrope, terminator, whatever, this weapon can deal with them pretty nicely, especially with the rate of fire, you know, version. You can like 3-shot a terminator. The last fusel is just an amazing weapon, and plus you do not have to reload this weapon, unlike the bolt sniper rifle. And again, if you use the rate of fire version, the charge up is pretty quick. That's not a problem. Simple S tier. Now the melter rifle, The melter rifle. I just have like two problems with this weapon, man. And that is, its boss damage sucks, and I feel like its overall damage is pretty bad, if you want me to be honest with you. I feel like I feel like B, and I just B, low A, you know, maybe you can say low A, but I just feel like its damage isn't great. Swarm clearing is very good, but in terms of dealing damage to Majoris enemies, extremists, bosses, it just fucking sucks, if you want me to be honest. For you to do like any sort of damage with, you know, the melter rifle, you have to pick, for whatever reason, I don't know who made this choice, right, but you have to go for the range version. That does more damage to bosses and enemies, right? But then your ammo reserve is then decreased, and especially if you're playing Vanguard, you need fucking ammo, okay? So I just feel like it's, you know, it's just B tier, man, in my opinion. Ammo isn't great, unless you're playing tactical, then it's, you know, ammo isn't a problem really. But if you're playing Vanguard, ammo is a problem. Damage isn't great against Majoris, Extremis, Terminus, but it is good against like Minoris enemies really. But I just feel like, you know, if we're comparing the melter rifle to these weapons right here, I just feel like the melter rifle just, you know, if they buffed its boss damage or whatever, or like maybe even like its range, so like you can do more damage, I feel like it will be like A tier, but I just feel like B tier. It's just gotta be B tier, man. A multi-melter is going to be an easy S tier again. Yes, before like the patch where like you can shoot twice, this thing was fucking amazing, but it's still pretty damn good. Kind of has the same problem with the melter rifle, that you have to pick the range version to do any sort of damage. But in terms of like dealing damage to Majoris enemies, the multi-melter is far better. I think it's like 2-3 shots, I think. But in terms of boss damage, I don't know why, but you have to pick the range version. The boss damage isn't great, but it's still far better than the melter rifle, and it's just an all-round good weapon. I guess it's decent at everything. Like swarm clearing is very good. Damage is like Majoris, Extremis is good. You can stagger them as well, which is also a plus. You know, if you have like triple Lictor, triple Ravener, you can stun them, which you can like relieve the pressure off you. So that's another plus as well. Its only downside is probably boss damage, but other than that, it's a pretty good weapon. Ammo again can be a problem, but you know, you should still be fine, right? Now the Neo Volkites, probably B tier. I feel like this weapon does need a buff, if you want me to be honest. I feel like it's falling behind compared to like the bolt pistol, heavy bolt pistol. I just feel like it's not that great. I feel like maybe if they can make it so like the multiplier is like, I don't know, takes into effect quicker or something. I don't know, or like maybe like a bigger explosion or something. I don't know. I just feel like this weapon, you know, compared to, you know, these two secondaries, it does suck, if you want me to be honest with you. And I just feel like it just cannot be A tier, man. So B tier is where it's at. Now Oculus bolts, carbine, probably like B tier as well. Again, everything this weapon does, bolt carbine does better. But the reason why it's better than the auto bolt rifle is because it has more ammo. I think it has more ammo. It's I think the headshot multiplier is also a lot better, I think, of, you know, being 1.5. You can pick the ×2 variant, but again with the Vanguard you need ammo, so you're probably going to take the ammo reserve. Headshot multiplier is 1.5, and the magazine capacity is also better, so that's why Oculus bolt rifle is going to be what's it called, B tier. I just feel like if we're comparing the Oculus bolt rifle to these weapons, it stands nowhere near them, but it is better than the auto bolt rifle. Now the plasma incinerator, I'm thinking like here. I feel like again this weapon does, like, it's only good against chaos, if you want to be honest. Like in terms of Tyranids, like this weapon is just not fucking good at all. You know, swarm clearing is terrible with this weapon, man. You know, just non-existent. AoE damage, absolutely non-existent. Like it's just regular R2 attack, does nothing. Like the only reason you're going to be using this weapon is just to, you know, charge attacks and whatever, and even that is like okay. It's like nothing special. I just don't really see any point in using the plasma incinerator when you have the melter rifle. It's just, you know, I just feel like you need to buff, man. This weapon has fallen behind quite a bit. Maybe like boss damage is decent with all specs, but then again, it's like every weapon is good with all specs, so I just feel like this weapon does need a buff. It's good against chaos, I'll give it that, but Tyranids and, you know, dealing with minority enemies and whatnot, it sucks. But I think the only, or the second positive is, you know, I think it can also stagger enemies as well. Like, the Plasma Incinerate is worse than the Plasma Pistol. That says a lot about the balancing in this game. A pistol is better than a primary. Like, a Plasma Pistol is going to be S tier, man. Like, I don't understand how the Plasma Pistol is better than the Plasma Incinerator, but it is. Its rate of fire is better. Contested health is pretty good on this weapon. You can also stagger enemies. Like, again, I don't see any point in using the Plasma Incinerator when both of these weapons can 3-shot enemies. Maybe, you know, ammo reserve is better, but that's literally it, man. That is literally it. This weapon needs a serious buff, man, but yeah, Plasma Pistol is S tier, as I said. Contested health recovery is good. Your damage is good. Rate of fire is good. Ammo can be a bit of a problem, but with the most classes, actually, no, it can be a problem. If you're playing like Bulwark or whatever, or, you know, you have auxiliary reload, so you should be good, but I don't know. It's still a good weapon, like, nevertheless, you know, ammo, whatever, it's still S tier. Does good damage. Contested health recovery is good. Staggers enemies. It's pretty good. Right, it's normal, you know, just normal R2 sucks, but again, like, you can say the same for the Plasma Incinerator, but you're mainly going to be using this weapon for, like, contested health and just, I don't know, if your, like, other weapon runs out of ammo, you switch R2, 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 and then bang, the enemy's going to be dead, and whatever, you move on, okay? Power Fist is also going to be S tier. This weapon can just absolutely destroy anything with Auspex, without Auspex, doesn't matter. You can one-shot enemies with it. It's a good weapon. It's a very, very good weapon, and with it getting a buff with the 17, it was 16 before. It's now 17. This weapon is just pretty damn good. Damage is good again. You can just, like, literally nuke anything. So yeah, there's that. Don't really need to say anything about that. And it's actually, its perk tree as well also does benefit the build. It's, you know, like, heavy attacks, so there's that. So you're gonna be dealing a lot more damage. For example, heavy armament, cannon punch deals 50% more damage. So it's things like that, and that's why this weapon is good. And I'm talking about the block version here. If we're just taking, like, fencing or, like, balance, I just wouldn't. I think with balance you can still one-shot enemies, but fencing, like, if you're going to be taking the Power Fist for fencing, not the heroic version, normal regular Power Fist, like, balance would be like A tier, like, fencing would be like B tier, but block would be definitely S tier. This weapon is just absolutely slaps. Not for, you know, not beginner friendly at all in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of the Power Sword, now, if you want me to be honest with the Power Sword, it is kind of falling behind. I'm going to get into why once I rank all the weapons, but you can, like, argue this, Power Sword, Chainsword, doesn't really matter, like, whatever, it's pretty much the same shit, right? The Power Sword is falling behind, and I feel like it might need, like, a slight buff. Its fencing version is decent, very good with, like, Bulwark and armor reinforcement and whatever. Block is also good. This weapon isn't bad. Like, fencing, block, whatever, I'd rate them all, you know, A tier. But it is falling behind, if you want me to be honest with you. If we're comparing it to, like, the Power Axe, Power Fist, it is falling behind, man. So it's gonna be A tier. The Stalker Bolt Rifle, S tier, I think. S tier or maybe high A. I think like S tier, dude. Like, I don't know. Can you say this? Can you? I'm gonna be a little bit bold. You see, I'm just gonna rate it like this, man. The Stalker Bolt Rifle is good. You know, headshot multiplier amazing. The rate of fire version is the one I usually go for. You know, dealing damage against majorities is good. Again, only downside is minority enemies, but you know, that's fine. You know, Zoanthropes drop like flies. Neurothropes, you can just, you know, destroy them. Carnivex, you still, you know, deal a decent amount of damage. Just go for the heads. Otherwise, you're not going to be dealing any damage. Same goes for the last fusel. Same goes for the bolt sniper rifle. But other than that, this weapon is pretty good. It's very fun to use, actually. But yeah, Stalker Bolt Rifle, S tier. You could argue like A tier, like high A. Same with the bolt rifle. But I don't know. I'm just being a little bit bold, a little bit courageous, and just like this. Thunder Hammer. Okay, we seriously need to talk about the Thunder Hammer. This weapon right here is not that good. I'm gonna be honest with you, this is another melee weapon that does need a buff. Like, I feel like the Thunder Hammer should be like the hardest hitting weapon in the game and not the Power Fist. I think like when I use Aftershock and or like was it Aftershock? I think it was called Aftershock. Like, I should be like destroying enemies. You know what I mean? And I just feel like it needs to do more damage. Its strength should be increased to like 18, I think. I feel like the Thunder Hammer should be the hardest hitting weapon in the game. And it just doesn't feel like a hard hitting weapon. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, Power Sword, I feel like Chainsword, Power Fist definitely are just far better, man. Like, you know, maybe the fencing is better. You can argue it being like high B, but I just feel like this Thunder Hammer just needs a buff, man. It's falling like way behind. Like Power Fists, Power Sword, Chain Sword, Power Axe. It's just like they're just far better in my opinion, way better options. And again, this weapon is not beginner friendly at all. And yeah, and I feel like with the fencing, I feel like it is good with the gun strike and whatnot, but no, it's also funny that the Thunder Hammer was initially released for the assault class, but then once Bulwark gets the Thunder Hammer, it's now better. Maybe if it's like, you know, if you're using the Bulwark, it can be like B tier, maybe A, but with assault and whatever. Well, I'll just do this, okay? Put it in the middle. But it needs a buff in my opinion. I feel like Thunder Hammer should be the hardest hitting weapon in the game, and you know, it just does not feel like a hard hitting weapon at all, right? Combat knife is gonna be like low A. I feel like this weapon with Shadow Stab is pretty good with like sniper and whatever. That's why it is better than the Thunder Hammer. But in terms of like just normal R1 attacks, they literally do like 0 fucking damage. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like if you have one linked and you have like block, if you are gonna be using the combat knife, I would highly recommend block. I just feel like the other ones just aren't great. If like just being honest with you, they just aren't good. Like it already like doesn't deal a good amount of damage, and if I'm choosing fencing and I'm and I have like 10 plus strength, like it's just like not fucking good at all. So I'd recommend block. Like if I'm just choosing fencing or balance, I'd go like probably worse than the Thunder Hammer, man. But block is what I would use. Block is going to be A tier. You know, it's okay, it's nothing amazing. You know, it says 16 plus, but then again, it just, you know, I don't know what cleaving does. Could someone let me know what cleaving does, man? I thought cleaving was like with, you know, gun strikes and parrying and whatever. I think it is, but in terms of like, you know, dealing damage, it just does not do like any fucking damage. Shadow Stab is what you are going to be using with this weapon. A Pyro Blaster. Oh, this weapon, in my opinion, it's better than the Heavy Plasma Incinerator multi. This weapon is fucking amazing. Oh, this is the Pyro Blast, not the Pyro Cannon. This weapon is just outright amazing. Like, chef's fucking kiss. This weapon is genuinely amazing. Probably even too good, man. Like, this weapon is literally good at everything. And when I mean everything, I'm literally talking about every fucking thing, okay? Tyrannid, Chaos, doesn't matter. You have a Swarm on you, doesn't matter. You have Extremist Enemy, doesn't matter. Terminus, whatever, it just doesn't matter. And this paired up with Auspex, like, literally will just destroy any fucking thing with concentrated fire. And I think it was called Precise Calibration. You just like literally just fucking destroy everything, man. You know, this weapon is just too good. Literally just, it's, when I mean it's good at everything, it's good at everything, okay? That's gonna be that. Now the Pyro Cannon, I feel like the Pyro Blaster is better. I feel like Pyro Blaster, I'm gonna go like here. I feel like it's, you know, you can say like they're on par with the Heavy Plasma Incinerator and the Multi Melter, or you can say like the Multi Melter Heavy Plasma Incinerator is just slightly better. I just feel like the Pyro Blaster is just so much more better. It's, you know, it's still good at everything, boss damage and whatever, but I just feel like, you know, in terms of which ones are better, weapon and Pyro Blaster is, you know, just far more suited for like, you know, tactical, and it can just do like a lot of damage. And you know, it's just like, it's good, very good, good at everything. It's just, I feel like just slightly, when I mean slightly, I'm talking slightly, no, not as good as the Multi-Melter Heavy Plasma Incinerator, but it's still a very, very good weapon. You could argue here, but you know, it's just your opinion really. Like Heavy Plasma Incinerator and Multi-Melter are just a little bit better, though it's still a very, very good weapon. And the main reason why I say that is because I just feel like with heavy stance, it's, you know, I just feel like it just doesn't really work well, if you want me to be honest with you. You know, and with having all specs and whatnot, heavy plasma, I mean, Pyro Blaster works better. But then again, it's still a very good weapon. Very good weapon. You know, again, if you want to argue like here, you can. It's just my opinion. Now, the Inferno Pistol, I feel like the Inferno Pistol is better than the Neo Volkite. I feel like I'm going to go like here, I think. I feel like the normal version just sucks. Like the normal version is just terrible. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about the ammo version. I feel like the rate of fire version is far better. And another thing that lets this weapon down is its gun strike range. It's just absolutely abysmal, man. Like really fucking sucks. So there's that. You know, damage. Like you're only gonna be using the Inferno Pistol against like minority enemies. Against like I don't think it staggers enemies, you know. Dealing damage to Majoris, Extremis, Terminus, it does like literally fucking nothing, man, because, you know, they said that they want this to be a swarm clearing weapon, even though it shouldn't be. But hey, you know, they want to go off of law accuracy and whatnot, but their weapons aren't more accurate. So yeah, so the Inferno Pistol is good, but it's okay. You know, I feel like Bolt Pistol, Plasma Pistol, and the Heavy Bolt Pistol are just far better, as you can, you know, use them for everything and anything. And yeah, maybe, I don't know, but actually it does stagger enemies. It does, I think, with, you know, I think it does. So it still doesn't change its spot, man. It's still going to be B tier. You know, these weapons, Bolt Pistol, Heavy Bolt Pistol, and Plasma Pistol, are just far better. Maybe you can be like high B or like, you know, here or whatever, but I just feel like it's got to be here because of the gun strike, and, you know, its ammo also isn't exactly amazing. With, you know, you have like 16, so there's that. And the power axe, well, I'm gonna say, like, excuse me, right there, ever since they changed the block of this weapon is absolutely amazing. Like, they did a very good job on this. If they're like fencing, I feel like fencing is like A tier and balance, but what the fuck are you doing picking balance, man? But the block is just absolutely amazing, man. Like, it deals a good amount of damage to any enemy, even bosses. It does a good amount of damage. It's just a very good weapon. And the fact that you get like an armor segment on top of that as well, and you can like stagger enemies, and you can like deal a good amount of damage. Wait, did I say? Okay, let me go over that again. You can deal AoE damage, right? You can clear swarms with the, you know, the little wave, whatever. Okay. It does count as a charged attack, so, you know, if you are playing, I think it was Bulwark, or no, it was Assault, you know, so you do get like an increase in damage with Assault with the block, you know, thing with overcharge. So there is that. So armor segment, you deal good amount of damage, very good amount of damage. You stagger them, can clear swarms, you can deal good damage to Extremis, Terminus, Majoris, whatever, doesn't matter. It's a very good weapon, a very nice change. Now, I feel like it's as good as the Power Fist. No, because, you know, the Power Fist can one-shot enemies and deal a significant amount of damage to bosses, but the Power Axe is, you know, I feel like the Power Axe is like an alternative to the Power Fist, you know, because they deal a good amount of damage. Just the Power Fist is just I feel like it's just better, but Power Axe is very, very good. And this is my rating. Let me know if you guys agree. And do you agree with like certain weapons needing a buff? For example, Thunder Hammer needing a buff, the Combat Knife, Power Sword needs a slight buff in my opinion. I just feel like these two weapons are just far better, man, than these weapons. I feel like Chainsword is decent, but like Power Sword, Combat Knife, I feel like, does the Combat Knife need a buff? I don't know, but Power Sword I think does, and Thunder Hammer does need a buff as well, because this weapon, I don't understand how it's supposed to be, you know, the fucking weapon to deal with, you know, a shit ton of damage, but yet the Power Fist and, you know, Power Fist, Power Axe, they just deal more fucking damage. This weapon needs a pretty significant buff, if I'm being honest with you. This weapon should be the hardest hitting weapon in the game, because if you don't know, the Power Fist is, I think it's at 17, the block version, and the Thunder Hammer block is at 16 plus, and I feel like the Thunder Hammer should be 18 plus, maybe even 19. That's my opinion. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Maybe we'll have a great rest of your day, and I am out. Peace.